This is an I Am Listening podcast.
Well, I think it's a typical ballsy move by one of the ballsiest politicians we've ever seen, certainly the ballsiest politician of my generation. I think it's a very good move on Nigel Farage's part. I think it sets the agenda for what's coming next. And I think it shows that we're going to go to the people in Clacton, and it's going to be a question of who do the people want to govern.
Welcome to the Kent Politics Podcast.
Hello, I'm Nicky White, Senior News Editor with the Cayenne Media Group, with our weekly roundup of Kent's political news. In Medway this week, people living in a row of homes managed by the housing association Orbit say they are finally getting somewhere with a sewage problem after nearly 2 decades of fighting. Residents of Kingswear Gardens in Strood have been complaining for years about repeated sewage overflows into their homes. Last year, Kent Online highlighted the extent of the issue and how Orbit's tenants felt that the process for reporting the problems was deliberately frustrating. Now, nearly a year on, things seem to be heading in the right direction, but only after one of the residents, Heru Esesimba, fought tooth and nail to move things on. He says that following our report last year, he won a settlement where Orbit agreed to a list of improvements which had to be completed within 120 days. However, other issues arose. A faulty washer caused a pipe to burst, ruining the newly installed floors and kitchen, which had been part of the deal. But it was only when a neighbour was contacted by Southern Water and told they had to move out due to concerns over contamination from sewage that Heru became concerned again. Despite living in the property for 19 years and the number of sewage overflows since 2009, his property had never been tested for contamination. When he contacted Southern Water, they sent someone the same day to carry out some testing, and shortly after, Orbit told Heru and his family they would also be moved to a hotel as well. Now, finally, a special team within Orbit has been set up to deal with the row of houses, which have all had sewage issues, and there appears to be movement towards getting all the problems sorted. Heru says he will keep pushing to guarantee that things are fixed, as his family have had to put up with the constant disruption which has caused loss of earnings and extreme stress to their lives for years. Taking a break from the standard fare of District Council matters, local democracy reporter Dan Essen has been crunching Home Office data on and off for weeks related to immigration in Kent. After many hours scrutinising spreadsheets, we can reveal that hundreds of corner shops, cafes, takeaways, restaurants, mini-marts and convenience stores have skilled worker visa sponsor licences, allowing them to hire employees from abroad. In practice, this means that they can be listed by people moving into the country as their sponsor, which allows people to move here semi-permanently. The vast majority of the licences are under the skilled worker route, which was introduced by the previous Conservative government in 2020. Now, it's important to note that, as an expert from the Oxford Migration Observatory told us, not all of the businesses who have these licences are necessarily hiring from abroad, and that in theory they can only do so for roles which qualify under the skilled worker route. However, we were also told that the Home Office generally doesn't investigate unless they have a reason to be suspicious. On the face of it, the economic case for recruiting abroad makes no sense. It costs more than £600 for a licence, and for each overseas worker you hire, you have to pay almost £500. However, this essentially fuels the suspicion that the visa system is sometimes used to facilitate chain migration. Weald of Kent MP Katie Lamb was very critical of this system when we spoke to her, telling us that the skilled worker route should be for doctors, scientists and engineers, not for people to work in takeaways and corner shops. Interestingly, it's not just independent shops which pop up on the list of almost 250 small shops and more than 200 food or hospitality businesses. There's also well-known brands and franchises like Premier, Nisa and Londis, 2 branches of pizza chain Faraway and even 9 branches of Subway. The Home Office has stressed to us that they're cracking down on businesses who abuse the system, with an 850% increase in sponsor licences revoked between 2023 and 2025, and that many businesses still on the register would not qualify under the stricter rules the new government has introduced.
Is there a topic that you would like to be discussed on the Kent Politics Podcast? Perhaps you've got a question for one of our panel, or you'd like to comment on a hot topic in local or national government. Get in touch by emailing or sending a voice note to kentpoliticspodcast@thekmgroup.co.uk.
After all the hoo-ha about Nigel Farage this week, his party can take some comfort from polling carried out by Electoral calculus, although the data on which this was based preceded Mr Farage calling a by-election in the Clacton constituency. The predictions will make very bad reading for Prime Minister-in-waiting Andy Burnham, as the latest results for July by Electoral calculus show 10 of the 11 seats won by the Labour Party in Sir Keir Starmer's 2024 landslide victory would be lost. Reform would be on course for 12 seats at Westminster in Kent, the Conservatives down 2 to 4, with Labour and the Liberal Democrats at 1 apiece. The percentage chance of Reform winning its seats is as high as 86% and no lower than 52%. All 3 Labour MPs in the Medway towns would lose to Reform UK. Dartford, regarded as one of the 4 bellwether seats in England, which usually elects the party which forms the government, would go from Labour back to the Tories. Faversham and Mid-Kent MP Helen Whately and Maidstone and Malling's Helen Grant once had commanding 20,000 plus majorities in 2019, but scraped in last time with fewer than 2,000 votes. They are unlikely to survive another general election according to current predictions. Obviously, it's too soon to know if Reform UK will take a hit from the Farage resignation or the fallout from the £5 million gift he received from a crypto billionaire. And then there's the further revelations alleging he had accepted support for security and social media staff in the year before the 2024 general election from a convicted fraudster, George Cottrell. The Reform leader, who denies any wrongdoing, faces the possibility of only having the likes of Count Binface as opposition in the forthcoming by-election, now that all the mainstream parties have decided not to stand in protest at what they have described as a stunt. There's every chance that Mr Farage will win fairly comfortably, but then after the parliamentary investigation into his finances is complete, he could end up facing an MP's recall petition for not following the rules. Then the good people of Clacton may be back at the polling stations again, just a few months after this by-election. They may not be quite so well disposed towards Mr Farage then. So when Electoral Calculus publishes its new survey early next month, will we see if the party is still ready to win 12 seats in Kent? If Reform maintains the level, Mr Farage's gamble will have paid off. But if there are significant losses in Kent, one could deduce the party is in trouble here. With the local elections to the new authority expected next spring, and no one knowing yet what geographical format the new authorities will take, Reform UK may well have the sternest test yet. Kent County Council leader Lyndon Kemcaran gave us her thoughts just after Mr Farage had announced his resignation.
Well, I think it's a typical ballsy move by one of the ballsiest politicians we've ever seen, certainly the ballsiest politician of my generation. I think it's a very good move on Nigel Farage's part. I think it sets the agenda for what's coming next. And I think it shows that we're going to go to the people in Clacton, and it's going to be a question of who do the people want to govern? Is it Nigel and Reform UK, or is it the Unity Party and the establishment? That's what it's coming down to.
And did you have any idea this was coming at all? It seemed to take a lot of people out the blue.
I think that's a wonderful thing about being a reformer. Every day is a school day, and every day there's a possibility for a different way of doing democracy. And I think that's what we've seen today. So no, I didn't have any idea what Nigel was going to announce at 2 p.m. this afternoon. But as soon as he said it, I could see exactly why he'd chosen to do it the way he's done it.
It does follow a lot of criticism and controversy around the leader of the party. Obviously, there's been a lot of controversy around the £5 million gift. And again, perhaps getting benefits from potentially a fraudster. Do you have any comment on that at all?
Well, I'm just going to repeat what Nigel said in his announcement. He's done nothing wrong. He's broken no laws. He's used no public money. So really, I think what we're seeing here is a witch hunt by an establishment that is absolutely terrified of the rise of Reform, and it can see the direction of travel. Reform UK has topped. It's well over 200 polls in a row now. Whenever a general election comes, we're ready for it. We're going to stand candidates all over the country, and there's a very good chance we'll do very well. And I think the establishment has had its own way for so many years. No wonder they're terrified, because they're going to be wiped out. And it's a battle for survival now. And I'm afraid this is just the latest chapter in a very long catalogue of dirty tricks against Nigel Farage and against Reform.
And if you're so confident in that prestige and that power that Nigel holds, why are we calling a by-election in the first place?
Well, I think there's a good chance that the people of Clacton, the very good and wise people of Clacton, will return Nigel Farage as their MP, perhaps with an increased majority. And I think that will send a signal to the likes of Andy Burnham, who may well be our unelected, unopposed, quite frankly, unwanted Prime Minister by the vast majority of the population by then. He's been foisted upon us. He's got no mandate to govern. He wasn't even an MP. He didn't even stand on Keir Starmer's mandate in the 2024 election. You know, this country is in an absolute pickle. And I think Nigel drawing a line underneath it, and I might add, offering to pay the full costs of the Clacton by-election himself, I think that sends a really clear signal to the people. Who is on their side? I don't think it's the establishment, but it definitely is Nigel and Reform UK.
And finally, Lord Craig McKinley, the former Conservative MP for South Thanet, was in Maidstone this week to open the Kent and Medway Prosthetics Centre. Mr McKinley, who lives in Rochester, contracted sepsis in late September 2023 and, after a battle which at one point left him with just a 5% chance of survival, he had life-changing surgery to amputate both his lower legs and arms. In October 2024, he became the first quadruple amputee to sit in the House of Lords. Dubbed a bionic peer, he vowed to raise awareness of sepsis and advocate for urgent improvements in how it is diagnosed and treated across the NHS. This week he opened a new multi-million-pound prosthetics centre, which is aiming to become one of the leading clinics for amputees in the country. He told us why places such as these are so important.
I mean, if you lose one limb, fine. 2 limbs. I mean, I laugh at people. I say, "Oh, you've got a flesh wound, haven't you? You've lost one limb." But obviously, the more limbs you lose, the more complicated life is. And places like this can start people again on their road to recovery and make them feel like they're valued by the health system, as they most certainly should be. Because it's not just getting used to life again; it's helping families and getting back to work. And to me, that is the best salvation for anybody who loses a limb and could find themselves quite easily in a bit of a mental health hole.
That's it again for another week. Don't forget to keep up to date with the ever-changing politics news at Kent Online, where you can also sign up for our weekly newsletter. Head to kentonline.co.uk/newsletters. And KMTV's Politics Show is every Friday at 5 p.m, so don't forget to tune in then. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to the Kent Politics Podcast. Don't forget to check out stories throughout the week on the politics page of Kent Online. And you can watch the Kent Politics Show on KMTV every Friday at 5 p.m. or on demand at kmtv.co.uk.
This has been an I Am Listening podcast. For more information, head over to our website, im-listening.co.uk.